Good morning and welcome to the show. This is In Touch, which is our weekly half-hour public affairs show. At the end of today's program, if you are a member of a nonprofit group or organization here in the Hudson Valley, we'd love to have you on the show and talk about what is important to you. If you are a company in the Hudson Valley and you are helping out a nonprofit group or organization, we'd invite you to come on with the organization as well. So at the end of the show, I'll tell you a myriad of ways that you can get a hold of me. And like I said, we'd love to talk about what is of interest to you here in the Hudson Valley. So let me turn on the microphone. Let me first say that this is pre-recorded. I did not ask Janine to come in here this early on a Sunday.
Thank God.
I just want to make sure that everybody is aware of that. So Janine, it's very, very cool to see you. Janine Agnelet, she is, you've been here before, but it's been a while.
In my past life.
We were just kind of reminiscing. But you always look wonderful. Can I just tell you, every time I see you, you look amazing.
Thank God it's radio and no one can tell you're lying.
I'm not lying. Trust me. But Janine is here, and she's the chair of marketing for the 2017 Special Olympics Winter State Games.
It's a mouthful.
That's quite a job.
It is quite a job.
But
an honor. It truly is an honor to be working on this project. And for the second year in a row, just to explain, so February 17th and 18th, just the end of this week, the Winter Games are coming to the Hudson Valley, Dutchess, Orange, and Sullivan counties. So if you don't know much about Special Olympics, I think pretty much everybody knows something about Special Olympics. Yeah. But it is the largest amateur sports organization in the world.
Yeah.
It is a competition, Olympic style competition for people with intellectual disabilities. And here in New York, we're, of course, referring to the New York State Games. New York is one of the largest chapters in the country, and I think the third largest in the world.
Wow.
So we allow over 60,000 athletes to participate throughout New York State. So I truly am honored to be the one handling the marketing for this event. But it is the second year. When they come to town, they come for 2 years. So last year was our first year.
Okay.
The games were here last year, this time, and this will be our second year. So we're very, very excited.
You know, I remember last year, and, I always say that on every show I always learn something, so, but I remember watching and reading about it and the expressions on people's faces, on the competitors, the volunteers. There were times when I think that the volunteers may have been getting as much, if not more, out of the events, out of participating, out of being there. It was really there was everything good about it.
Yeah, it's true. It's all good. It really is. We had to recruit 1,500 volunteers locally. And Kathy Smith, who is the chair of our volunteer committee, she was confident that we were going to reach that goal last year. It's my job to be a little skeptical because I have to sort of get the word out and make it happen in a sense. So I don't ever want to rest on my laurels. So I was like, I don't know. And then someone in the room said, no, the Hudson Valley, we are the most generous people in the world. And I remember this person saying that with such conviction. And after that, I believed that what he said was absolutely true because we recruited over 3,000 volunteers. So more than double what we set out to do. Mm-hmm. And it was unprecedented. The number of people who came out to the athletic competitions, the state folks told us that this does not happen anywhere else. So the families were so happy. The athletes were so happy to feel the love locally, because what happens is when the athletes, of course, they come from all over New York State, 9 regions of New York. So we have athletes, men and women from all of those regions converge in our area and compete in various sports. But what happens is their families do not travel with them. Typically, and very often, they can't afford to,
right?
Which is the reality of the situation. And very often they need a break. So it is our job to be their family while they're here. And so half of the volunteers that we recruit are simply Their role and their job is to sit in the stands and cheer and make signs and make noise and just, share the love. So
Yeah.
we did that very well last year, and we hope to do it again this year.
Is there still time for people to sign up to volunteer?
There still is. I'm
I
happy
have to
to
ask that question.
Well, of course, no. I'm happy to report that we have surpassed the 1,500 mark. So there were two kinds of volunteer positions. One was a service role where you actually have a task. You're either keeping score or you're handing out programs or you're funneling people, here and there. Those positions are full, but the other half of the positions are what they call social volunteers, meaning
Okay.
you're there to cheer, fans in the stands. And those positions are still available.
Okay.
If you would like to do that, you just go to the website, specialolympicsny.org, and click on volunteer, and you can sign up to do that, or just show up at the athletic events at this point. If that volunteer page is now inoperable because we've reached our quota,
Right.
people can still come out to the athletic events and just support the athletes.
What a tough volunteering
Yeah.
role just to sit there and cheer. I don't know.
Bring the kids.
You got to stop
Let
asking
them-
so many
yeah.
serious things.
Let them be noisy. Let them make noise. You want the kids to, burn off some energy. Bring them to the games.
Like you said, it's an Olympic style competition, and I'm a huge Olympics
Oh, really?
fan. I watch every time, summer, winter. I watch them, and then the Special Olympics come. Like after the Summer Olympics were done in Rio, then I don't know if it was the next week or a few weeks after were the Special Olympics in
Right.
Rio as well, and you watch those, and
Yeah.
unfortunately they're not covered as much as
That's true.
the first round. So you kind of have to, there's Facebook pages I'll follow and watch the videos so that I keep track of where that is. I love the whole idea of the competition. I love that it celebrates the human spirit. I love
absolutely.
the stories that every athlete has of what he or she had to overcome to get there. And even just, this is not the best term, but basic fears. And by
Right.
that, I mean, we all have them. Anybody who went through gym class in school remembers the fear in your heart when you stood at the foul line and you had to try to make a basket, and that
Right.
wasn't even in front of anybody.
Or when no one picked you to be on their team.
That was me.
I was one of those. Yeah.
That was me.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's what I mean. We all have that. And then to watch individuals to, put themselves there and say, okay, you know what? I'm going to see what I can do.
Put themselves out there. It's
I'm going to
incredible,
see what I
really.
can do.
And they train. And, when the folks from Albany, the state organization, came down to recruit us and train us to a certain extent and teach us about Special Olympics and the history and what it's all about and how it works. The one thing that they really wanted to drive home with us is that these are serious athletes. These people, these individuals could kick your hiney from here to Ulster County in no time flat. So they want them to be taken seriously because they are serious athletes. And they train extensively. They wait all year to be picked. And of course, it's unfortunate, but the number of athletes that get chosen is contingent upon the amount of money we raise. So it is unfortunately a monetary thing. That's why raising funds is so important. When you're donating to Special Olympics, you are literally allowing an athlete to compete. We here in this area, Neville Smythe, who is the chair of fundraising for this event, he raised $100,000 just to host these games. That's what it cost us locally. And so we have many, many sponsors in this area who we can refer to later who contributed to the possibility of this happening here. So athletes are, they're in it to win it. And, and it's great to see the determination that they have.
Now, let me ask you this question. Is this how they do in these games? Does that get them entry to other games? Or is this, how does that work?
There are some athletes who will compete. They have the World Games.
Right.
And they have the U.S. Games and then the World Games. So, yes, some of them will go on to, higher ground, so to speak.
Okay.
I can't say that I'm the most knowledgeable person in terms of how exactly that works, but locally, I can tell you that it has to do with, and I'm sure it's a similar process in that it is the coaches who pick their athletes. So when we say that we have over 1,000 athletes, it's over 1,000 athletes and coaches who participate in this event. So it is they who know who is able to compete.
Yeah.
Who's up to snuff.
Yeah, because the pressures
they have
increase.
to try out.
the
So
more-
it's the same idea.
Okay.
They have to try out. We have 109 athletes locally here in the Hudson Valley competing this year. And as I said, that they would be 109 of the 800 or so athletes throughout the state who will be converging on Dutchess County for the opening ceremony. Opening ceremony is the 17th at the Civic Center.
That was my next question.
I'm sorry.
No, you're rolling. You're good. You're perfectly fine.
So 8:00 at the Civic Center this Friday, the 17th, is the opening ceremony. It has all of the Olympic style stuff that you would love, Beth, because the state police run the torch in. It's wonderful. They're real supporters. All the local police are really behind Special Olympics, and they run the torch in. They light the cauldron. All of the athletes parade in according to the region.
Wow.
And it's beautiful. There's
Nice.
entertainment. There's bagpipes. There's all kinds of surprises. And,
That's very cool.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Now, are there tickets required? Do you need to sign up?
There are no
What do you-
tickets.
Okay.
And unfortunately, the Civic Center is only so big.
Right. So if you want to be there, you
Yeah.
need to.
Unfortunately, it's
Right.
first come, first serve.
Okay. Okay.
So if you want to be there, you kind of have to show up on the earlier side. They'll only let you in so early, but if you really want to get in,
That's what you need to do.
that's what I would do.
So how does it work? Obviously it's the Winter Games. You think there's skiing, there's cross-country skiing. You think of all the games.
Yes.
And they're held throughout the Hudson Valley, Orange and Sullivan counties? Is
Yes.
that
So
kind of?
Friday night, let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
Friday morning, the athletes are bussed in from all over New York. And then Friday, they have a nice meal. And by the way, the hotels in our area have just been so generous.
Cool. Very
So
cool.
we're very, very fortunate again to have our athletes housed in the most lovely of accommodations. And the state folks said they couldn't believe how nice, their accommodations were, because in many other parts of the state, they're staying in dorm rooms or in all kinds of facilities, but never were they treated like this. So it's a great statement.
Go
for the
Hudson Valley.
Yeah.
Go
So
Hudson
anyway,
Valley.
then they of course have dinner, and then it's time for the opening ceremony. Now the next morning they're up bright and early and having breakfast, and then they're off to their individual athletic competitions. So figure skating is at McCann Ice Arena.
Oh,
First
nice.
thing Saturday morning. That's a very popular event.
I was going to say.
Get there early if you want to be there. Bowdoin Park is where there's cross-country skiing and snowshoeing. Now, the thing about Bowdoin Park is we need snow.
Yes, we all need to do the snow dance.
We need snow.
Yes.
We need at least 6 inches of snow on the ground to make
Okay.
that happen at Bowdoin. Now, what happened last year, we didn't have snow either. Those competitions were moved to Sullivan County to Holiday Mountain.
Oh, okay.
So they were able to make snow, and they made a lot of snow. Great thanks to them. But it's unfortunate because there is one particular competition in cross-country skiing that can't happen without the snow at all. So
We're hoping.
yeah, so
All right.
we're hoping for some
So
snow.
for those of you that have been posting on any social media of how happy there's no snow, stop that right now.
Yes.
Just stop it.
Just for a week. Just for a week.
You can go back to being that way
yeah.
as soon as this is over, but not now.
I
Okay.
asked Mark Molinaro, who of course is the honorary chair for this event, to at a press conference in the fall. I asked him to wear his pajamas inside out and put the spoon under his pillow. We gave out spoons. It was great, but it's not working. It's not working. So
Got to make them do it again.
yeah, whoever you pray to.
Please pray to them that we have some snow and plus, you think about it.
Well, they've trained for so long.
They've trained for
That's
so
the
long.
Heartbreaking part.
And this is it.
This is it.
This is
Missed
it.
opportunity. I
Right.
know.
And you don't want to do
No.
that. So everybody thinks snow.
Okay.
Okay, there it
so
is.
Bowdoin Park. Then there's downhill skiing at Holiday Mountain.
Okay.
And then, from what I understand, I did not get there last year, but the most impressive event is floor hockey, which is the largest team, and that is at Stewart International Air Force Base.
Wow.
So right in the hangar, they transform this hangar into a floor hockey
Wow.
extravaganza. So
Wow.
if you're headed there to watch that, you will need ID. So that's a picture ID because security there
Right.
is a little different. So that's it. Those are the athletic competitions, and we hope that people will come out and support the athletes.
So once the opening ceremony is on Friday, then how long do the competitions go? Like, do they go the whole next week? Do they go a couple just that weekend?
They're really just Saturday.
Wow.
They're Saturday.
Wow.
So Saturday night, the closing ceremony is back at the Civic Center. There's a party afterwards for the athletes, and then Sunday morning they head home. So it's not as long as the Empire State Games that were held here, back in about 10 years ago. So it's been a little bit easier in that sense for the committee, but they're in a sense more emotional. I think in a sense, these athletes are just so just enamored, with this and just determined and they want this to happen so badly. And
there seems to be a love of life, just a love of being in the moment.
Oh, sure.
Everybody. And
enjoyment.
Yes.
Enjoyment.
And I think that's why, like earlier when we were talking about when is this show going to air, in my head I'm going, oh, well, these, again, I learn something every time we do a show.
Uh-huh.
I'm thinking, oh, these are going to go for a week. Like the competitions are going to go for a week. And now I know why you went, no, Beth, this show can't air then because it will be,
no, they're just I get it. They're so psyched. That was the word I was looking for. They're so psyched. But, I don't know if the summer, there is talk of the summer games coming here. That is a whole other animal. They might be longer. I'm not sure. But
so this is for that weekend. So.
Correct.
And what a nice weekend. It's President's Day weekend.
It's nice.
It's a longer weekend, kind of a thing.
Now, the following weekend, and just to tag this with this event, is the Polar Plunge that benefits Special Olympics. And that is in Fishkill at Sharp Reservation, Camp Moriah. So following Saturday,
nice.
People can participate and jump in the icy waters if they'd like to, or just donate some.
I'm already seeing that on my Facebook page.
Yes.
It's all connected.
Extremely, extremely popular. So it is all going to the same place. This is Special Olympics. And a lot of people don't realize that Special Olympics New York hosts events all year long. Athletic competitions all year long. So although we're celebrating this one event this week, it's only one of many that they continue with all year long. So these athletes are busy training, working, competing all year.
I love the fact that and it makes sense too if you think about it. They're away from their families. A lot of times it's cost prohibitive.
Yes.
And so, routine is very important to all of us. All of us have our routine, and we all know what we feel like when we're thrown out of that routine. So it makes sense that this is on a weekend, so it doesn't stretch out. So you're not asking individuals to be away from their families, a support system for that long. So that makes perfect sense. But it also makes for such an exciting and energized and
it might as well be a year to them because it's an opportunity of a lifetime for these individuals, and they really just want to get out and do the sport they love. It's really that simple to them, as it is with all of us. They enjoy it, and they've
worked, they've trained, they know what they got to do. I love, again, the figure skating is Saturday morning, which I just, again, I am such an Olympic fan. Like in my head, I'm just thinking of all these, and it's funny because, I obviously know what hockey is,
right.
Do I know any of the rules? No. No, I don't. And friends of mine are appalled that I do not know nor understand the game of hockey. And a friend of mine is a huge Pittsburgh Penguin fan, and I'm from Pittsburgh, and he's like, I don't understand how you could not. I'm like, I don't. I
Well,
don't.
you have to get that puck
My
in the
eyes
net.
glazed over. That's all I know.
I know that.
There's this little thing they drop on the floor, and then there's sticks, and you hope you don't hit anybody, and you get it in the thing. I don't know. That's all I know. So, so for
funny.
those of you who are hockey fans,
Yeah.
that I love the fact that there's the floor hockey. So
Yes.
that'll be cool. So I know there's a lot of hockey fans because I get grief by so many
Sure.
people.
And that's a huge,
that I'm not.
huge team. There's over 100,
Yeah.
athletes participating in that. So
Yeah.
it's a big team.
And again, that's just I try to watch, I try to learn, and I like sports, but I don't. So you guys go to floor hockey. I'll be at the figure skating. You guys go to
Right.
floor hockey.
You may
Or
not
just
be at Bowdoin. If you're at Bowdoin, you may be alone.
Let's hope. So again,
yeah.
everybody needs to think
Yeah.
snow.
I
So
hope so.
knowing that this show is pre-recorded and it's airing on Sunday the 12th, so we are the week before, what is it that you need from the community? How can people who are listening this morning who are excited and they want to participate, how can they do that?
I think the most important thing would be to come out and support, and attend the games if you can. I realize there are people, it's just not feasible. And if that's the case, then, I think there are many ways that people can get involved just by talking about it, just by reading about it. Spreading the word on social media would be really helpful. There is a third volunteer position that we started this year, and it's called the social media volunteer. And that is
cool.
someone whose job it is just to tweet, just to post, and just
Nice.
to post to Instagram and Facebook. So I think that is helpful to spread the word because, again, the mission, this is only one event. But the mission of Special Olympics is far greater and will last far more and far longer than just this 2-day weekend. So personally, I think that's the thing to do, educate people about this organization and the larger issue of people with intellectual disabilities and how we can empower them in our communities, how we can empower them in the workplace. If you are, now I have my Abilities First hat on, I'm on the board at Abilities First. We serve people with developmental disabilities. If you're an employer and you're interested in employing a person with a disability or in learning more about that, this would be the time to maybe make it a point of learning more about that. So I think this gives us all an opportunity to focus for a moment on this issue.
I love that. And I love the fact that the following week, after we've all had a great weekend, and you've seen what this enables individuals and families to experience, is the polar plunge,
Right.
which benefits the Special Olympics.
So, of course, the other thing you can do is donate money. And we don't always like to say that first because there are many ways that you can give. But monetary donations, of course, are much needed and much appreciated. So on the Special Olympics website, specialolympicsny.org, I believe there is an opportunity for you to donate online. And Sony, SONY, State of New York, has a Facebook page. So you could go on there, check out all the photos and everything that they're up to on a continual basis throughout the year. So Special Olympics needs you for sure. And I just want to read the oath. There is an oath of the athlete, and it is, and I'm sure that you've heard it, but it's always worth repeating. It is, let me win, but if I cannot win, let me be brave in the attempt. And
I love that.
It's wonderful. And I think it's true. It's
we
true
should
for
all
anyone.
say that
It's
before
true
we
for
start
anyone,
our day.
isn't it? Yeah.
We should say
it really
that
is
before.
lovely. It really is lovely.
Wow.
And that's the athletic oath that they take before they begin competition. So
I love that.
At the opening ceremony, they will take that oath.
I love that. And I also like the fact that, as you mentioned earlier in the interview, while the Winter State Games are here, there are events that go on year round. So when you look at something like the polar plunge and other opportunities for you to donate or to help, know that you are not just for the Winter State Games, not just for one event. You're really helping these individuals in the program and all that it does for so many people be able to continue to do that.
Yes, absolutely. And it helps their families too. I think, we have to talk about the athletes and their families because their success and their pride and all the good things that happen to them are so important to their families.
Yeah.
So I really want to thank the Hudson Valley, and I'd like to thank Town Square Media for being a media sponsor this year. I also want to thank the city of Poughkeepsie because a couple of things to look out for. If you are in the area and you are headed to the Civic Center for the opening ceremony, please notice the red line painted down the middle of Market Street. And please note the banners that are hanging on all the poles. The city of Poughkeepsie did that for us. And I also want to sort of direct everybody this week, and I'm hoping that this is going to be a reality. It should be. But something very special has happened this year in that the Bridge Authority the Bridge Authority of New York has given us permission to hang a Special Olympics flag from the Mid-Hudson Bridge.
Wow.
And this is an historic occasion because they have never hung anything from that bridge other than the U.S. flag and the POW flag. So I asked them if they would let us hang this flag, not knowing where I was going to get the flag or how I was going to get the funds for the flag. And let me just tell you, I had no idea how complicated flags could be. But this flag, it's 20 by 30 feet, so it is just as big as the U.S. flag you see hanging from the bridge.
Nice.
It'll be red with the logo, and it is going to be a wonderful way to welcome the athletes as they cross that bridge into Poughkeepsie for their opening ceremony.
Nice.
So we're very excited. It's made of special polyester double.
You have to be.
You're a sewer, so double sewn Coralex to withstand high winds.
Yes, it would have to be.
It's being installed. Hopefully it's arriving at my home any day now. Being shipped from New Jersey, where you can find anything, by the way.
I love that. So that would be great.
We're very grateful to the Bridge Authority.
Yes,
please make a note of the bridge, the flag, and the lights will be red in honor of Special Olympics.
Nice.
And thank you to the Bridge Authority for that.
Nice. So I'm looking, we have about 2 minutes left. Any closing comments, final thoughts that you'd like to leave with
I think
folks?
I have to give my thank yous, if you don't mind.
Do it up.
We really do need to thank, because without our sponsors, this
It's
really
not
would
happening.
not have been. And I'm not going to name every single one, but I really do need to recognize Westchester Medical Center Health Network. They are our platinum sponsor this year. I'm just going to rattle off a few. The Arc of Duchess, Central Hudson Gas and Electric, Turk Hospitality, Arnoff, Access Supports for Living, Greystone Programs, Key Bank, Poughkeepsie Gallerina, Rose and Kiernan, Abilities First, Adams Fairacre Farms, the Anderson Center for Autism, and a new one this year, IBM, which is great. And we thank them all for their support. We thank the people of the Hudson Valley for their support and coming out, because I know they are going to come out and support us this year. And I want to thank the media sponsors, as I said before, Town Square, iHeart, Pamel. You've all worked together to make this very successful. The Poughkeepsie Journal, Highway Displays, which donated our billboards. We're very grateful. And really, this really, truly would not happen without the generosity of all of you. So many thanks. On behalf of the state of New York, on behalf of the athletes and their families and our organizing committee, thank you very much.
It's an amazing thing now that I've seen a little bit behind the scenes and learned about and all that has to come together and to make it happen. It's
a
really
well-oiled machine.
But it's going to be an amazing weekend. So
yes, it'll be nice.
Everybody, whatever station you're listening to this morning, just go to that website, because you will see an article with an on-demand, as it were, of this interview. Plus, in that article, we will have links to the website, to social media sites, to where you can donate, where you can volunteer. We'll have all of that there for you. So if you've been running around this morning and you're like, didn't they say something about something? Know that we'll have it all right there in that post. Janine, thank you very, very much.
Beth,
I can't believe you took the time this close to the event.
Oh, please.
But
it's my pleasure. It's so important to get the message out there. And thanks for giving us the opportunity.
Absolutely. Anytime. And thanks to all of you. Take care of yourself and those you love. And we'll see you right here next week.